Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, classmates. So today we are going to discuss about the elements of art. And by the way, we are the group 1. So what is art? It is the product or process of deliberately arranging items in a way that influences and affects one or more of the senses, emotions, and intellect. So we all know that art lagi siya influence sa ato ang kanang mga kinabuhi. So ang affect ang mga parts di ay nga gina-affect sa art sa ato ang ato ang pagkatao is our senses or ang ato ang kanang common sense or ato ang emotions or pagbati ug ang ato ang intellect or understanding of knowledge. So, the elements of art are the building blocks used by artists to create a work of art. So, kaning elements of art, dili ni siya mawala pag-abot sa art kay mo ni siya ang murag kanang haligi sa art na kung wala ni siya, wala po'y art na mahitabo. So, next. Let me introduce to you Arthur Wesley Doe. So, he is a historical personality that is a field sa art. So, he was an American art teacher and artist. He created landscapes and sketches before studying Japanese arts including ukiyo-e prints and woodcuts. Doe wanted art students to be able to see, describe, and create visual qualities in a systematic way. So, Doe wrote about the elements of art in 1899 in his book Composition, a series of exercises in art structure for the use of students and teachers. He started out with just 3 elements, the notan, or Japanese concept of light and shade or mass, and color. Over the years, other art teachers have expanded the list to the ones below. So, muna ni siya, the line, shape, form, space, value, color, and texture. So, muna siya ang evolution. So, good sa kaning gisulat ni Arthur nga tulo pa ka buok ang iya ang idea nga kuan elements. So nahimo siyang 7: line, shape, form, space, value, color, texture. So think of these as ingredients. The principles of design are how the elements are used in the composition of an artwork. And this is the recipe. So sa design nga line, shape, etc. mo ni siya ang recipe. Balance, emphasis, movement, contrast, unity, pattern, and proportion.
There are 7 elements of art. First, we have line, shape, form, value, texture, color, and space. So let's talk about line. Line is a mark that is made on a surface or outline. Line is the path created when an object moves from one point to another. Line can be 2 or 3-dimensional, descriptive, implied, or abstract. Direction of lines. The direction of a line can dramatically alter an artwork. It refers to a line that is either horizontal, vertical, or diagonal. Diagonal lines create movements and energy. Horizontal and vertical lines and stability and strength to an artwork. In this example of a diagonal lines, Artemisia Gentileschi, one of the strongest lines that Artemisia Gentileschi used in this painting of Judith, was the diagonal line of the arms of Judith as she beheads Holofernes. So makita ato dira kana si Holofernes giputlan siya ulo ni Judith. So diagonal lines are some of the most powerful directional lines used in a paintings. people tends to notice diagonal lines more because they appear more visually active than horizontal or vertical lines. The strong diagonal lines of Judith's arms draws our attraction down to the head. Artemisia Gentileschi understood the power of what directional lines could do to create a focal point for her paintings. Contour lines. Contour lines form the outside edge of a three-dimensional shape and clearly defines the area occupies. For example, here's a drawing of Leonardo. He drew himself as an old man. A picture that an artist makes of him or herself is called self-portrait. Look at the face of Leonardo da Vinci. The contour lines around his facial features give his face form. So kung moingon tag facial features, mao ni siya atong eyes, eyebrows, nose, mouth, and jaw. Kung lantawan na to ang self-portrait ni Leonardo, makita na to ang contour lines gapalibot siyang facial features para ma-form iyang self-portrait og naong. Gesture lines allows the artist to capture a subject movements, form, and character. Gesture lines is a method to capture the energy, action, and movements of an object or character. So, in this example of gesture lines in art of Marino Marini, he used a big swishing gesture lines that capture the action and energy of the object or subject. So, makita ato diri na gagamit siya gesture lines para makapture ang action o energy para kana na subject sa iyang artwork. Implied lines. Implied lines are not made by a physical mark in an artwork but rather by visual suggestion. Our eyes often follow them automatically, so they draw attention to specific parts of an artwork. In art, implied lines are not drawn, but they are created with colors, objects. Their purpose is to guide the viewer's eyes within the artwork of an artist and emphasize the certain elements. For example, this art, The Unical Marriage by Vasily Pukyrev in 1862. The main focus of this painting are the bride and her hand, and the bride hands is an implied lines in itself. It symbolizes reluctance and the unwanted, but innovative futures. The lines in painting all points towards what's happening in its centers. The position of the gaze, heads, and eyes all create an implied lines, as well as the shadow on the wall on the left. Expressive lines. Lines that shows feelings and emotion are called expressive lines. The lines that shows feelings and emotion kay ginatawag na siya expressive lines. So kung moingon tag expressive lines, it's a lines quality na gadala og meaning or mood sa drawing or artwork through association. For example, in this artwork called I Name the Scream, there are 5 main kinds of line. A. Horizontal line, a lines that run parallel to the ground. So it's the two lines on the same plane are parallel to each other if they never intersect each other, regardless of how far they are extended on either sides. B. Vertical line, lines that move upward and downward. It's a line parallel to y-axis and goes straight. There are 5 main kinds of line. Horizontal line, a lines that run parallel to the ground, so its two lines on the same plane are parallel to each other if they never intersect each other, regardless of how far they are extended on either sides. B. Vertical line, lines that move upward and downward. It's a line parallel to y-axis and goes straight up and down in a coordinate plane. C. Diagonal line, lines that slant. Lines are slanting if they don't go straight across or straight up. D. Curved line, lines that change direction gradually. This line is not straight and the point does not move in one direction. So makita ato sa diri na curve yun iyang line gid. Ani. A zigzag line is a line that are made by combination in diagonal lines that change directions. There are lines that, when viewed in a work of art, create confusion, they suggest action and excitement. So, ano siya, kanina line combination siya sa diagonal lines na ga-sense of direction.
Shape. It has always two dimensions, the length and as well as the width. The next one is it is also represented as an enclosed area that is defined by color, value, space, texture, and form. When lines form together, they make flat shapes. So there are categories of shapes. The first one is a geometric shape. It's also called as regular shapes. So, kasagaraan mo ni siya makita sa mga math gani na sa eskwelahan, especially kanang sa grade 9 sa ako ang pagkahinumdum. So, diraan murag daghan kayo mga equations or mga ipasolve gani sa teacher nato, like sa mga side ani yung size. So, next slide please. Organic shapes, also called as free-form shapes. These are shapes that seem to follow no rules, figures that have a natural look and a flowing, curving appearance. So, kani kasagaraan diri na diri ang mga nature, mga rock, mga plants. So, mo siya mga example aning organic shapes. So, next, positive shape. It is the solid form in a design. Occupy positive space. So, wala siya no tanawa. Ang background niya kay white para murag mas ma-emphasize siya ang usay ka nang ang main point sa picture. So, the opposite one sa positive kay negative shape. It is the space around the positive shape. So, kani po siya dari, black ang yung background, tapos white na dynamic yung white ang airplane diary. So, bali-bali na siya. So, next, static shape. It appears stable and resting. So, one siya example niya ang moon, kaning moon niya. So, dynamic shape, it appears as if moving and active. So, kani siya from smaller to larger, kanang magmula bitaw siya galyok, bitaw siya gasunod-sunod. Form has always three dimensions, length, width, and the height. So, next slide. Okay. So, there are types of form. The first one is a tube. A regular solid of 6 equal square sides. So, masyada po ni kay ang box kani-ganyo, tanaw kaninyo ang box. So, ang cylinder, a surface traced by a straight line moving parallel to a fixed straight line and intersecting a fixed planar closed curve. So, mo siya example niya, ang cylinder, ganun siya. So, the next, the cone, a solid generated by rotating a right triangle about one of its legs. Sphere, a round solid figure or its surface with every point on its surface equidistant from its center. So, mo siya circle, so mo siya sphere. Value refers to the changes in the base color, range of lightness and darkness within a picture. So, next slide, tingnan mo na yung mga examples diary. So, there are the categories of value. The first one is the tint. Adding white to color paint to create lighter values such as light blue or pink. So, mo diri mag-add kay mga white mga kuanya color para makontrol nimo unsa nimo pag gusto ba mas lighter or mas dili kayo siya light nga. So, shade. Adding black to paint to create dark values such as dark blue or dark red. So, mo ni siya opposite siya sa tint. So, dari black po diyang ginaad. Pero po, makontrol niya kung saan gusto niya nga color nga gusto niya ma-achieve. So next, high key. Where the picture is all light values, dali mo lagi picture out niya mga lighter bitaw mga kanang hayag kaayo siya mga kada kay siya parang blue kay siya kaayo. So looking. Where the picture is all dark values, so dali mo lagi dark siya kanang black and white yun iyang color dali pero siya di siya lang taon yung flowers. Ang background niya kay black, so mo to siya. Next. Value contrast, where light values are placed next to dark values to create contrast or strong differences. So makita na to no diri black ang iyang gikuan diari tapos ang iyang na dito sa likod white ayun parang ma-emphasize yun sa thought sa painting or sa imong ginabuhat. Value scale, a scale that shows a gradual change in value from its lightest value, white, to its darkest value, black. So, muna siya example ang value scale, kanina circle. Next.
Texture. The quality of a surface or the way any work of art is represented. Also refers to the way a picture is made to look rough or smooth. Rough or smooth. There are two categories of textures called real textures and implied textures. Let's see the difference between real and implied textures. Real textures or physical textures means the actual physical surface of an artwork or design. It describes the tactile feelings you will get if you were able to run your hand over an artwork. This feeling can vary depending on the materials the artist used to create the piece of work. So actual texture is how something feels like if hikapo na to siya, kung smooth ba siya, soft, rough, hard, or unsa ba na siya na real or actual na texture. For example, if we're going to touch the table, it is smooth. If I were to touch the carpet, it will be fuzzy. And if we might touch the pillow, it's smooth. So let's talk about implied textures. Visual or implied textures. Visual or implied textures refers to the textures in art that cannot be felt by touch, but which resemblance is instead achieved through the masterful use of artistic tools and materials. So implied texture is what something looks like it feels like, so drawing in a way that it looks like if you were to touch the paper, it would feel bumpy or feel smooth. But really it's just a pencil lines or marker lines to create that drawing of the textures. We can see in this example pictures between real textures and implied textures. So makita to ang real textures today. If we're going to touch this glass and bricks, we can feel that what texture it is. In implied textures, it look like it will have a texture if we're going to touch it.
So, color. Color has three characteristics, which are hue, value, and intensity. Hue means the shades red, yellow, or pink. And value refers to the lightness or darkness, and the intensity refers to the brightness or dullness of the work of art.
Andre Deren, in his art Charing Cross Bridge, indicates example of color in art. Paulo Clay shows contrast between high intensity and low intensity colors by using more or less water with his paint. So makita Andre ang katong giingon ni DB kanina katong high intensity o low intensity colors.
So next, primary colors. All colors come from three primary colors, red, blue, and yellow. You cannot mix any colors to create a primary color. They are the base used for all other colors. So ato ni siyang na-learn no atong mga elementary pa ta or high school. na naatay tulo ka primary color ato ginang compare sa ato ang Philippine flag na red, blue, ug yellow. So mo na siya gitawag nga mga primary colors.
In this artwork, workshop builders number 1 in 1972, index example of primary colors in arts. Jacob Lawrence uses only neutral colors with the primary colors of red, blue, and yellow. So makita diri na yung mga primary colors kani red, blue, ug yellow kani.
So next, analogous colors. To find a pair of analogous colors, simply choose two colors that are touching on the color wheel. Analogous colors create harmony and unity in art because they are made of the same hues. Some of the basic analogous color pairings are blue and green, red and orange, and yellow and green.
The Olive Trees in 1889. Index example of analog colors in arts. Vincent van Gogh was used colors next to one another on the color wheel: blue, green, and yellow.
Next, classification of colors. Three primary colors or P's are the red, yellow, and blue, and three secondary colors or S is orange, green, and violet. So kaning secondary colors mo siya ang result sa combination sa duha ka colors nagikan sa primary colors. For example, red ug yellow, ang result niya is orange. So ang red ug yellow na siya ang primary colors. Then ang orange, itawag na siya ang secondary colors. Secondary color kay combination na siya sa lima ka primary color. And then nata is 6 ka tertiary colors which are red orange, yellow orange, yellow green, blue violet, red violet, which are formed by mixing a primary with a secondary color. And the next atong padayon ta sa space, it is a creation of visual perspective. This gives the illusion of depth. It can also mean that the way an artist uses the area within the picture lane. So real space is actually three-dimensional. So ang space, parehas siya kung sa nakita natin sa picture na bisan tuod ka ng example gipaint na siya o i-draw na siya sa papel, plain lang ang paper pero marag nalahatag siya depth na kanang kasulod, pwede ka makasulod kay kanang murag parehas aning nasa dalan na siya mga road signs na murag forward siya na nagkalayo ang mga stop sign na siya ang space.
South Beach Patterns. In this example of space in art, Jan Sloan uses overlapping, foreshortening, relative size, perspective, and more.
So let's move on to linear perspective. Linear perspective is a mathematical system by which an artist uses lines to create the illusion of depth, three-dimensional space on a two-dimensional surface. So, kung siya ang murag ginagamit sa mga architecture, inaana.
The Ideal City. In this example, the artwork by Pero de la Francisca was one of the forerunners of linear perspective in Ideal City. Use one-point linear perspective to show the depth of the space.
Next is atmospheric perspective. Atmospheric perspective, sometimes called aerial perspective, refers to how objects that are far away often appear fuzzier or less detailed than objects that are close due to the contrast between light and dark being increasingly reduced by the effects of atmosphere. So, marami siya sa kanang mga salidang detail kaya ang sa tubangan pero sa kanang mga lagyo na nga mga kuan kay or blur or fuzzy gamay.
In this example, the hunters in the snow. In 1565, in this example of atmospheric perspective in art, the trees and mountains in the background are fuzzier and less details than the items in the foreground. So bakit diri ang background niya mura siya ganto? Mura siya halap og kaning ug kani po na diri na items sa sa foreground. Mura siya kanang less details kasi siya. Gamay kana di siya ingon na maklaro ko.
Next, positive and negative space. In addition to space being a way to show depth, artists also use positive and negative space as elements of art. Positive space is the areas of the artwork filled with the content, and negative space is the space in between.
So in this example, the cathedral in 1908. For example, this art of Auguste Rodin, the cathedral, the empty negative space between the hands creates as much emotion and power as the positive space of the hands.
There are 7 elements of art, and they could be considered the building blocks of art. Everything that is created starts from these 7 things. These 7 words and their definitions and understanding them are the vocabulary we will use when we describe works of art and talk about things together. All of you must be able to define and identify these 7 things. Line is the first building block or element of art. Line is a path created by a moving point, mark, or object. A line can be straight, swirly, wavy, jagged, dotted, dashed, broken. You get the point. It can be squiggly or straight. It can be diagonal, vertical, horizontal, parallel, perpendicular, thick, thin. There are many things that can be done with line, as you can see here in these examples. Shape is a two-dimensional, flat, enclosed area. When a line crosses over itself, it closes to create a shape. There are geometric shapes like squares, triangles, circles, rectangles, and ovals, and organic shapes, which would be everything else, like a leaf or a butterfly. Form is a three-dimensional shape. It has height, width, and depth. It would be something you could walk around. Forms are things like cubes, cylinders, and spheres. On a flat surface, you can use shading and perspective to make a flat shape turn into a form. Value is the lightness or darkness of an object. A black and white object can have value, and so can a colored object. It is the effect of light and shade in a picture. Some of the words we would use to talk about value would be tint, and that's when you add white to something or make it lighter, and shade, which is when you add black to something or make it darker. Color, also known as hue, can add interest and mood to pieces of art. The primary colors are red, blue, yellow. There are also secondary colors and tertiary colors. You can have warm colors or cool colors, tints, lighter colors, or shades, darker colors. And you can use color to add emphasis and interest to your work. Texture is how something feels or looks like it would feel if you could touch it. There are two kinds of texture. There's real texture, so that would be like a sculpture you could actually touch, or implied texture, which is when an artist makes something look like it has texture even though you can't feel it. Space is the element of art that refers to the emptiness or area around or within objects. Positive space refers to the part of the artwork that takes up the space. Negative space is the area around that object. This element of art also refers to the parts of a picture, so you can have the foreground, middle ground, and background. Perspective is another way to show that there is space and dimension in an artwork.